Hi, Mikayla. All right, I was reading through your writing. Good job. Great, good read. Thank you. Um, you're at adobe.com, and of course, anything that's put out by Adobe is going to be relevant in regards to its relationship to sound design advice, and sound technical advice. So you're in good hands. Anytime you find a tutorial from Adobe, you are in great hands. So good choice here. And the reason I say that, of course, is because as you're following through this thread, one of the things I'm trying to really drive home is the importance of being able to decipher whether it's a good tutorial or not that you're finding online. There's plenty of BS out there. We know that, right? So to be able to find something that provides good sound technical advice as well as good sound design advice is truly a good resource. So anything from Adobe is great. Anything from lynda.com, of course, is lynda.com is the best out there, no doubt. Hands down the best tutorial site out there. Of course, it's a subscription site, and luckily you guys have a subscription with your as being RimCAD students, so that's fantastic. And one of the things we have to really decipher is the relevance of the actual tutorial itself in regards to is it relevant to you as a designer, an up-and-coming designer that's getting ready to enter the field? So when you're taking tutorials, you have to kind of say, hey, am I ever going to use this? And I think that the tutorial that you gave is kind of borderline. I've never had an opportunity to, but it's not saying it's a good tutorial. It's a great tutorial. It's a great technique. I haven't really had a chance to use this technique. But I can certainly see where it's a utilitarian technique in terms of a professional designer's workflow for probably more of a specialty process. Nonetheless, it's quite nice. I honestly think that what you know from this class, you probably could have figured out how to do this yourself. I'll bet I'm right on that. Let me know. I'm interested to know. At any rate, it's a good technique, very straightforward technique, and that's why I said I think you probably could have figured this out how to do this. If I were to show you this image and said, if I were to said, okay, Mikayla, let's go ahead and try this on your own, and I gave you the two images, I'll bet you could have done a darn good job coming close to figuring it out. That's great. So another thing you need to really decipher as finding good sound tutorials is your skill level. So it's not feasible to try to take a tutorial that is extremely advanced where you have to stop at every single step. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's going to come a point in time where you're going to have to find, in your professional career, you're going to be tasked with a project, and you're going to have to find out, how do I want to accomplish this, and that does entail some pretty complex advanced tutorials. But again, I just want to mention and kind of correlate the importance of being able to determine what are good tutorials and what are mediocre tutorials. So one thing you want to keep in mind always is non-destructive workflow. If a tutorial is going through a workflow where pixels are being harmed, you don't want it. You don't want it. You want to maintain full editability always in Photoshop. And I've said this a couple of times, and this is something I want all students to carry forward in this class. Inside your head, you should be carrying this thought: no pixels were harmed in the production of this Photoshop composite or this Photoshop piece. And that's a rule to live by, especially as a student that's getting ready to enter the professional job arena. I think you did a great job on this. I think one thing I would say on this is there's a little too much background and not quite enough characteristics of the animal's fur. We can kind of see it through here. This is really good up here, but we kind of lose it back here. And if that's the intent, that's great. It's a great job. I mean, we can clearly see it's a very effective result. So fantastic job. Okay, Mikayla, outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful technique and this really good outcome here. All right, great. Thank you very much.